Good morning watch nerds. Today I'm comparing what I consider to be two similar dive watches. The Phoibos watch company was started in 2016 by Elton Gu and Emily Feng and are based in Hong Kong. The name Phoibos means the god of sun and light, in ancient Greek mythology that is. By coincidence, San Martin come from roughly the same region and were also started in 2016 by Liu Xiaoming. I think I pronounced that correctly. The philosophy of both owners was to make quality watches at competitive prices. Phoibos made one or two homage watches, but shortly afterwards concentrated on their own designs, while San Martin put their energies into making homages. But they do dabble a little bit in their own designs. Now the Phoibos Voyager is without doubt 100% unique in its design, whilst the San Martin Retro Diver draws inspiration from a few vintage watches, but certainly isn't a direct homage of any. Now I'm going to be judging these in the following categories: brand, movement and crown, case and crystal, strap, I should say bracelet, dial, hands and loom, water resistance, the bezel, presentation and packaging, the X factor and value for money. And welcome to my unpaid and unsponsored head-to-head review between the Phoibos Voyager 3 and the San Martin SN004G version 3, the retro watch. Before we start scoring, let's have a look at the dimensions then. The Phoibos has got a case of 39mm, a lug width of 20mm, a lug to lug of 47mm and a depth of 14mm. Once adjusted to fit my 17cm wrist, it weighs about 153 grams. Now whilst the San Martin has got similar dimensions, it's fair to say it's a little less chunky. The case is 38mm, but once the bezel is included, it measures 39mm. The lug width is also 20mm, the lug to lug is 46mm, and the depth is a fraction over 13mm. Once adjusted to fit my wrist, the San Martin is a little bit lighter, weighing at about 135 grams. This may be due to the more substantial bracelet on the Phoibos. In my opinion, the San Martin definitely wears a little bit smaller. And on this rather cold and frosty day, this is my watch of the day. It's the Tudor Black Bay 36. Firstly, the brand and reputation. Like I said in the intro, both brands are known for their quality and specification at a very good price. It would be easy for me to mark the San Martin down because they concentrated on homage watches, but that suits a lot of people. To be honest, I can't separate them, so they're going to get the same score. The Phoibos gets a 7, as does the San Martin. Both crowns are well knurled and they're signed. The Phoibos has crown guards, but in keeping with the vintage look, the San Martin doesn't. Where the Phoibos is better is the depth of the crown, making it easier to use. The San Martin doesn't have a date function, thus it does have a ghost position. Both crowns operate the movement without issue, and they engage reasonably well. The Phoibos has got an NH35 movement, whilst the San Martin has a YN55A. These both tick away at 21,600 beats per hour, they hack and they ham wine, and they've got a power reserve of 40 hours. To be honest, I think they're as good as each other. Simply because of the extra depth on the Phoibos crown, I'm going to give it 1 extra point. The Phoibos gets a 7 and the San Martin gets a 6. Both watches have a sapphire crystal, with the Phoibos opting to use a flat one and the San Martin a double dome box version. They both claim to have AR coating, but I find the reflection is less on the Phoibos. It almost goes without saying that both watches are made of 316L stainless steel. For me, the San Martin is far more intricate, as the brushing is horizontal and there are some nicely polished chamfers. But where the Phoibos scores stronger is its nicely deep etched caseback, and it doesn't have to be removed with one of those Rolex style caseback openers like the San Martin. The Phoibos gets a 7 and the San Martin gets an 8. Both watches really have excellent bracelets and clasps. In fact, the clasps are very similar, but the San Martin has one additional micro adjustment. The Phoibos bracelet is a 5-link engineer style with a combination of polished and brushed links. It's extremely solid and it's very well made. The San Martin is a riveted oyster style and it's beautifully brushed. To be honest, considering the price, both watch bracelets are excellent. My only complaint is the screws on the San Martin are particularly fiddly, especially if they're tight. This is another difficult one because the more tawny style bracelet on the Phoibos suits the watch, as does the more dressy one on the San Martin. After a great deal of thought, I'm going to sit on the fence here. Both watches get the same score, and that's a 9 out of 10. Firstly, the Phoibos. It's got a stunning black to red fume dial with unusual applied teardrop indices. The Kraken is under the 12 o'clock, and there is a colour matched date window at the 6. The minute hand is a pencil style, but I'm not sure how to describe the hour hand. As you would expect with Phoibos, the loom is absolutely fantastic. Now the San Martin. The dial is described as being tropic. It's got a leather type finish. It's a sort of burnt orange. The indices are painted on, keeping with the vintage vibe, and the script at the top is more suiting than the usual hex they use. Both hands are the pencil design, and like the indices are filled with C3 old radium loom. The loom is very good, but it falls short of the Phoibos. Once again, this is very difficult. Technically the dial is probably better on the Phoibos, but I think I prefer the aesthetics of the San Martin. Sorry guys, they're both getting a 9 out of 10 because I just can't separate them. This is the easy category. Both watches have a 200 metre water resistance rating, so they're both getting 8 out of 10. Moving on to the bezels then, and I can tell you they're both actually superb. Neither have any backplay or wobble, both line up perfectly, and the action on both of them are about as good as you can get. I have to say though, purely based on looks, I prefer the San Martin. It's definitely nicer, but the Phoibos does have a loomed bezel. I've decided to give the San Martin one additional point, so it gets a 9 whilst the Phoibos gets an 8. So here is the picture of the Phoibos presentation box. And here is the picture of the San Martin. Neither are particularly premium, but neither are rubbish either. Nice and easy, they both get a 7. It's difficult for me to determine what the X factor actually is, but I suppose it's the one thing that makes me look at them the most often. They both really have a great X factor, but that burnt dial and stunning bezel on the San Martin excites me just that little bit more. For that reason I'm giving the San Martin an 8 and the Phoibos a 7. In reality you'll be paying around the £250 mark for both watches, but that may depend on the country you reside. The San Martin on paper is a little bit cheaper, but Phoibos always have some sort of offer floating around. To be honest, both represent great value for money, so both watches get a great score. The Phoibos gets a 9, as does the San Martin. So in summary, I suspected this would be very close, but to be honest I also suspected the San Martin may just nick it. They're both great watches, and if you want something a little bit tawny, the Phoibos is a great choice, but if you want something a little bit more refined, the San Martin is the one to go for. So if I could only keep one of them, which one would it be? I have to say that I'm more of a fan of the San Martin, based on the slightly smaller dimensions and dressier look, but that doesn't mean I don't get great enjoyment when I wear the Phoibos. So that brings me to the end of this head-to-head review. If you've enjoyed it, please click on the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave your comments below and enjoy the rest of your day.